Hey guys, this is Devin here at Savannah Stopover with SCAD Radio, and we're here with Plastic Picnic. We're going to go around and introduce you guys.
I'm Lincoln.
Emil.
Marshall.
Gordon.
So, how do you guys like Savannah so far?
It's awesome. It's like a mini Austin, but kind of better.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We've only been here for about like an hour and a half, but there's really good smells, which we got some help identifying as pizza, and the weather is not a blizzard, and it's very green and colorful. So we're all posy.
So, I got to ask this. I know we were joking about this before, but are you guys paper or plastic guys?
Yeah, well,
Reusable
actually,
cups.
We have plastic picnic tote bags, so usually we use the reusable tote bags. Yeah.
Whole Foods thing.
Yeah.
We're gonna like reward people for reusing a bag or like a cup at our show, so we can counteract our name, Plastic Picnic.
So, there's like you guys, 4 of you in the bands. Where did you guys all meet up? Because I know you guys are from Seattle and Brooklyn, but how did you guys all come together?
So Lincoln and I went to undergrad together in college, which in Bellingham, north of Seattle, and these two guys kind of grew up together. And then Lincoln and I moved to New York, and we're looking for 2 members to complete the project. And then a mutual friend from home was like, "How do you not know Gordon and Marshall? They're best friends and play bass." And we're like, "Oh my gosh!" And they just moved to New York, so our mutual friend kind of brought the 2 duos together, and then the 4-piece was born.
But we're all from like the West Coast area, like Northwest. And then it was just kind of like a separate meeting in New York City, and it worked out perfectly because me and Emil played music together as like a singer and kind of guitarist, and these guys are like drummers and bassists that are like amazing together, and they played so much together. So when we finally sat down together, it was just like perfect. We just wrote songs like immediately.
So, did it take you guys like a while to find your sound when like you guys all came together finally?
Yeah. Yeah, it takes a while anyways, but
Definitely developed, but I think within the first time that we ended up playing, it was an accident. We weren't even necessarily thinking of being a band. We just got together and hung out and started making music. And 3 hours later, we're like, "Oh my God, it's been 3 hours, we're still playing, that's amazing." And so that's when Emil was like, "Hey, why don't you come back next week? Let's do it again." And then we're like, "Wait, are we a band?" Yeah, and I remember you saying, I remember you saying, "I'm down if you are," and I was like, "All right, there we go."
Yeah, it happened super organically and efficiently. I think Lincoln and I had some songs we were working on, which we kind of just ended up ditching because we collaboratively wrote so efficiently, and it was kind of more interesting with more brains in the mix. So yeah, it was kind of surprising how fast it happened.
So, are your bios to say that you guys have a very nostalgic 80s movie sort of vibe to your music? Is there any 80s movie or music that actually inspires you today that actually really does influence your music?
Lots.
Yeah.
No, I think you got the list.
Or we've been tagged as like John Hughes movie soundtracks a lot. So I think like 16 Candles is a huge one for us, that like nostalgic, innocent romance that I think a lot of 80s films like captured, in the couple dancing at prom moment. I think I like the nostalgic and slightly cheekiness of that. So yeah, I don't know, I think a bunch of bands in that realm. We love The Police, Tears for Fears. There's like a really nice line between nostalgic rock music and then borderline corny pop music that I think is a cool little needle to ride, and we try and do that with a little bit of modern influence.
Yeah, I was gonna say like not quite 80s, but like Twin Peaks has definitely influenced us a lot, and like we all just love Twin Peaks and some of that like funny dark stuff. But yeah, all
that soundtrack, just like a lot of the softer sections we have with the synths come a lot from stuff like that, and then the synths that Angelo Badalamenti uses in Twin Peaks. So it's an eclectic mix that way. I don't know. Yeah.
So, is there anything that's from your childhood or growing up that has also helped shape what you guys are now today? Anything that also really gives you a nostalgic feel, or like, I want to put this into my music? This is what really makes me, want to be a musician.
I would just say Built to Spill is like a band that I grew up with in my hometown, and they're just like a huge influence on me because they're like the coolest guitarists in the world. And that music was just like imprinted in my brain to write kind of intricate parts that really correlate well with the vocals, because I'm oftentimes just like going in between Emil's vocals and like other parts and like transitioning all the time and writing these little riffs, and that's just something that's like forever stamped in my musical brain.
Yeah, kind of that. It's interesting because I think I definitely was so into Northwest indie bands in general, Built to Spill, Death Cab for Cutie, and that mix between darker lyricism and then bright, slightly complicated guitar music. And then I think I also had a lot of influence from this, like my family. My dad played in bands in the 80s and was in like kind of pop, funk crossover stuff. So I feel like that was a really kind of cornered influence. And it wasn't until like maybe got out of the Northwest that I like really took a hold of those influences a little more and had like perspective of like, oh man, there's more music than Built to Spill and Death Cab, and we still love those bands, but it's kind of cool to see these older influences come to fruition maybe once we got out of the Northwest finally.
So with our last question here, what are you guys trying to do with the band now and taking your music further? What are you guys experimenting with and trying to see what you want to do different?
What do you guys think? I don't know. I'm like,
I think right now we've been having like bringing in things from different time periods, like we said, the 80s sound or maybe like 90s guitar riffs and things like that. It's fun for us to start playing maybe our music and then deconstructing it and then rebuilding it in a style that might be like kind of a challenge for us, and then see what process comes out of that. So that's kind of what we're moving forward with. We're writing new songs now, getting ready for another set of recordings. And so I think there's a lot of that, trying to push ourselves as writers.
you get like a little more comfortable with each other too. Like we've only been playing for 2 years together. And then, yeah, the more you do it, you just get more comfortable with each other, learn each other's tendencies. And I don't know, the songwriting becomes a lot easier that way. Yeah, more confident.
We were just listening to a Song Exploder podcast, if you're familiar, and it was one about Spoon, and Spoon is talking about like a demo the singer sent the drummer, and then they were like, let's try and play this demo like Dr. Dre's 2000 would, where and they're like, let's make, if, you know, we made as Spoon a Dr. Dre song, how would it sound? And we all think that's a really cool idea because you know, Lincoln's guitar and my voice and Marshall's bass playing and Gordon's drumming is always going to sound, I think, like Plastic Picnic. But if you lean on some uncomfortable influences in your genre, I think that things, really unique things happen. So we've been trying to take new material and material that's been written and not recorded and trying to deconstruct it and find unique textures and ideas that maybe wouldn't apply to like the everyday Plastic Picnic instrumentation or melodic scale, I guess, if that makes sense.
Well, guys, there you have it. Plastic Picnic here at Savannah Stopover. Remember, you can check us out at SCAD Radio on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. We'll see you guys next time.